The book I chose is called Witchlings, the Golden Frog Games. Deep in the shadows of the cursed forest stood Seven Salazar and her secret. It was a terrible and a dangerous one, but right now Seven had other things to worry about, namely the flock of skeleton birds with razor-sharp beaks and glowing red eyes that kept diving at her from the tippy tops of the strangling figs. Cymric Rune, the Hastings-on-Pumpkin's uncle, cleared his throat. This should not be that complicated. It should be easy to summon birds, Sybil, the oracle said, from where they were draped on a mosey log like some sort of model. Why won't you try again? Cymric said softly before shooting the oracle a weary glance. Seven nodded once, then raised her hand towards the trees, which were bathed in the eerie purple light of the early morning, and spoke Aves. A few seconds passed in tense silence, but then, like every time before, instead of summoning normal birds, her magic brought the flock of skeleton creatures towards her. They pecked at her scalp and any exposed skin before spewing disgusting goo all over her. It burned like hex. Rats, yelled Seven, waving her arms wildly to get the green slime off and stop the sting. The healing mushrooms, Seven, quickly, cried Cymric. Surely she can pull off this simple spell, muttered the oracle. Hungos, said Seven, throwing her hands up and out. The earth rumbled slightly, and for a moment Seven thought she might have gotten it right. Instead, a sound like a balloon deflating fizzled in the distance, and her magic failed. Again. Hungos, the oracle waved their hand lazily in Seven's direction as they flipped through the issue of Teen Witch magazine. From a distance, the whispering of leaves approached. The whispers turned into violent rustles that shook the forest around them. A batch of multicolored Kuro shrooms emerged between the twisted trees and zoomed right at Seven. They hung suspended in the air around her, and each Kuro shroom exploded like a firework, a chalky poof filling the air with rainbow smoke. Purple, green, and pink dust settled on Seven, and instantly her blistering skin was healed. See, the oracle flicked their finger and turned the glossy page. Easy. Sometimes Seven Salazar wished the night beast had never spoken to her. Right now, covered in dust and goo in the middle of the cursed forest, her body weary with exhaustion, was one of those times. Is something keeping you from focusing? Asked Cymric, his eyes a vibrant green with slit pupils that were typical of a half-fae, half-witch were kind, his demeanor patient, and yet Seven felt hot shame wash over her. She looks delicious, hissed a Flora Subaru as it slithered past Seven. She tried not to look at the petals sprouting from its skin, a beautiful monstrosity. Yes, she wanted to say, there are a million things keeping me from focusing. Instead, she shook her head no, and Cymric nodded. All right, let's try that one more time. It had been 4 months since Seven learned she was meant to be the next town uncle, the second most powerful witch in her town, with the gift to speak to animals, and apparently monstrous. At first, she had been so froggin' excited it had been a welcome win after being declared a leftover witch, a spare, and not having her coven circle close. She had been the first witchling in many years to invoke the impossible task in order to make sure she and the rest of her coven didn't lose their powers. And Seven, Valley, and Thorn had beaten the impossible task, not by killing the night beast, but by stopping it. And then the night beast had spoken to Seven. She had been blessed with the powers of the uncle given to her by nature. It was something that didn't happen to spare witches, not ever, and it had felt like a dream come true.